Hi, I'm Leland. I've been busting my ass at Apex Marketing for the last 4 years, climbing from entry-level account manager to senior project lead through pure grit and talent. I practically live at the office these days, especially with the Jenkins campaign taking over my life. It's the biggest project I've ever handled. A complete rebranding for a national retail chain worth millions. This is career-making stuff. Great work on those mock-ups, Leland. The creative direction is exactly what we need to wow the client. Victor clapped me on the shoulder as he passed my desk, his expensive cologne lingering after he walked away. That's Victor Winters, my boss and the executive director of client services. Tall, perfectly groomed, with that easy confidence that comes from an Ivy League education and family connections. He's been my mentor since I joined Apex, always encouraging me to take risks, praising my work to the higher-ups. At least that's what I thought. Don't forget the holiday party tonight. Attendance is mandatory. Victor winked before disappearing into his corner office. The annual Apex holiday party was legendary. Open bar, gourmet food, spouses and partners welcome. I wasn't much for office socializing, but Victor had hinted that the Jenkins campaign might be discussed with the CEO present. No way I was missing that. The ballroom of the Westfield Hotel sparkled with holiday decorations when I arrived. I grabbed a whiskey from the bar and did the obligatory rounds, chatting with coworkers and their plus ones. Leland, you made it. Victor waved me over to where he stood with his wife. You remember Melissa, right? Melissa Winters smiled warmly, looking stunning in a black cocktail dress. Of course. Leland, the miracle worker. Victor talks about your Jenkins campaign constantly. All good things, I hope? I laughed, noticing how Victor shifted slightly. Nothing but praise. Would you excuse us? I need to introduce Melissa to some of the partners. Victor guided his wife away before I could respond. An hour later, I was refilling my drink when I spotted Melissa and another woman tucked into a quiet corner behind a large poinsettia display. I wouldn't have paid attention except I heard my name. Poor Leland, the woman said. Does he have any idea? I froze, pretending to study the drink options while straining to hear. None, Rebecca. Victor has it all planned out. Melissa sighed. He's going to present the Jenkins campaign as his own concept at the executive meeting next week. He's already changed some of the files. Rebecca shook her head. Just like he did with that woman last year. What was her name? Sarah Chen. She quit after he stole her pharmaceutical campaign. And there was David, before that. Melissa sounded resigned. It's how he's built his entire career, Rebecca, taking credit for other people's work. And you're okay with that? Rebecca asked. What am I supposed to do? It's been his pattern for years. At least he picked someone who won't fight back this time. Leland's too nice, too trusting. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. My hand tightened around my glass as I processed what I'd just heard. 6 months of work, countless all-nighters, my innovative approach to the Jenkins campaign, all about to be stolen by the man I trusted. I turned away before they could spot me, my mind racing. The room suddenly felt too hot, too crowded. I needed air, needed to think, but one thing was crystal clear. I wasn't going to be Victor's stepping stone, not without a fight. I spent the weekend in a daze, replaying what I'd overheard. By Monday morning, I'd made up my mind. If Victor wanted to play dirty, I needed ammunition. I pulled up the company directory and started making a list of employees who'd left abruptly over the past few years. The name Sarah Chen stuck out, senior copywriter who quit without notice 8 months ago. LinkedIn showed she was now at a smaller agency across town. I sent her a message requesting coffee. Thanks for meeting me, I said when Sarah arrived at the cafe 2 days later. I was surprised to hear from you. Nobody from Apex has bothered to stay in touch. Sarah stirred her latte, studying me carefully. What's this really about, Leland? It's about Victor. I have reason to believe he's planning to take credit for my work. I heard his wife mention you had a similar experience. Sarah's face hardened. So he's still at it. The pharmaceutical campaign was mine from concept to execution. Then suddenly, it became Victor's brainchild in the final presentation. When I confronted him, he gaslighted me, said we had discussed the direction change, that I was being too emotional. Did you try going to HR? With what proof? He was careful. Made small changes to my files over time. Had conversations without witnesses. It was his word against mine, and guess who the company valued more? I found Jake in the server room the next day, a lanky guy with thick glasses and a suspicious nature. I'm not looking to get fired, man. Jake glanced nervously at the door. I'm not asking you to do anything illegal. Just recover the original versions of my files before they're permanently overwritten. Why should I stick my neck out for you? Because Victor's done this before. To Sarah Chen, to someone named David, probably others. It's not right. Jake sighed. I knew something was off when he asked me to adjust the metadata on some files last month. Said it was for version control. He tapped a few keys. I can restore your original files from the backup server and track any changes he's made, but you'll need more than that to prove intent. While Jake worked his magic, I decided to take another risk. I found Rebecca's contact info through some social media sleuthing and asked her to meet me. I know this is awkward, I said when we met at a quiet bar downtown, but I overheard you and Melissa at the holiday party. Rebecca's eyes widened. Oh God, look, I never meant to. I'm not blaming you. I just need to understand what's happening. How long has Victor been doing this? Years, from what Melissa has told me. She's trapped in this cycle of looking the other way. She knows it's wrong, but Victor's built their whole lifestyle on stolen success. Has anyone ever confronted him successfully? Not that I know of. He's smart, Leland. He chooses his targets carefully. People who are talented but non-confrontational. He misjudged me then. By Friday, Jake had recovered all my original files with timestamps intact, showing clear evidence of Victor's tampering. Sarah had introduced me to David Ramirez, another former employee with a similar story. And Rebecca had confirmed the executive presentation was scheduled for Wednesday morning, with the entire leadership team present. I had the evidence. Now I needed a plan. Sunday night, I sat at my kitchen table surrounded by scattered papers and a half-empty pizza box. My plan was taking shape. Risky, but elegant. I was going to give Victor exactly what he wanted, but with a fatal flaw built in. I called Sarah to run the idea past her. You're creating a trap? That's ballsy. Sarah's voice crackled over speakerphone. The Jenkins campaign hinges on targeting Gen Z through micro-influencers. My original strategy has solid metrics backing it up. I'm creating an alternate version with beautiful packaging but fundamentally flawed audience targeting, mixing up Gen Z values with millennial spending patterns. And you think Victor won't notice? That's the beauty. He doesn't understand the nuances. He's only ever been an idea thief, not a creator. He won't spot the problem, but every marketing expert in that room will. Monday morning, I walked into Victor's office with a confident smile and handed him a thumb drive. The finalized Jenkins presentation. I made some tweaks over the weekend. I kept my voice casual, leaning against his doorframe. Victor plugged in the drive, scanning through my slides. Impressive as always, Leland. I knew I could count on you. I also emailed you the support documents. The client is going to love this approach. I'll make sure the higher-ups understand the innovative thinking that went into this. Victor smiled that wolfish smile of his. No need for you to attend the executive presentation. I'll handle it from here. Whatever you think is best, I said, fighting to keep my expression neutral. I turned to leave, then paused. Oh, one thing, I'm still running some final numbers. Mind if I hold on to the master file for another day? I'll have the absolute final version tomorrow. Sure, this looks comprehensive already. Victor waved me off, already adding his name to the title slide. Back at my desk, I texted Rebecca. Phase 1 complete. He took the bait. Melissa confirmed he's been working late, practicing the presentation. Called it career-defining. Rebecca's response came quickly. We need the CEO there. Can you make that happen? Already on it. Told Melissa to mention to Victor that the Jenkins campaign could attract similar big clients. She'll suggest he personally invite Thompson to showcase his genius. Tuesday afternoon, Jake from IT stopped by my desk. He's been all over your files, man. Changed the creation dates, reworked some of the wording, classic Victor move. Did he notice the flaws in the strategy? Nope. Just concerned with making it look like his work. You sure about this? Once this goes down, there's no turning back. I'm sure. Did you set up the server access like we discussed? Jake nodded. During the presentation, you'll have remote access to display any file you want on the conference room screen. Just text me when you're ready. That evening, David Ramirez met me for a beer. Sarah filled me in. You've got guts, kid. David clinked his bottle against mine. I wish I'd thought of something like this. Will you be there tomorrow? Wouldn't miss it. Sarah's coming too. We'll be the surprise guests of honor. David grinned. Victor's had this coming for years. Any last advice? Don't let him see you sweat. Guys like Victor, they feed on fear. Walk in there like you own the place. Wednesday morning arrived. I dressed carefully, my best suit, crisp white shirt, the tie my dad gave me when I graduated. I had the correct Jenkins presentation on my laptop, along with a folder of time-stamped file versions Jake had recovered. Rebecca texted, CEO confirmed attending, Victor ecstatic, says this is his ticket to making partner. I smiled as I typed back, perfect, see you at 10. In the office, I nodded casually to Victor as he strode past, presentation folder in hand, not even bothering to acknowledge me. He had no idea I'd be there, front and center, when his stolen glory came crashing down. Ready for the show? Sarah whispered when I met her and David in the lobby. Born ready, I replied, checking my watch. 9:45. In 15 minutes, Victor's career of theft would come to a spectacular end, and he'd never see it coming. The boardroom was filling up as I entered with Sarah and David trailing behind me. Victor was at the front, arranging his materials on the podium, looking confident in his designer suit. His smug smile faltered when he spotted me. Leland, what are you doing here? This is an executive meeting. I was invited by Thompson. I nodded toward the CEO who had just walked in. Victor's eyes darted between us. I see. Well, take a seat in the back. I'm about to start. Rebecca slipped in beside Melissa, who looked uncomfortable as she noticed our assembled group. What's going on? Melissa whispered to her friend. Justice, Rebecca replied, just loud enough for me to hear. Thompson, the silver-haired CEO, called the meeting to order. Victor has promised us something revolutionary for the Jenkins account. The floor is yours. Victor launched into his presentation with practiced charm. Today, I'm proud to present a groundbreaking marketing strategy I've developed for Jenkins Retail. I texted Jake. Ready? Victor clicked through the slides, explaining his innovative approach. As you can see, we're targeting Gen Z through these channels, but with messaging that appeals to their aspirational values, home ownership, investment portfolios, and traditional luxury markers. I stood up. Actually, they don't. Those are millennial values you're describing. Gen Z prioritizes sustainability, social justice, and experiences over possessions. Your strategy would waste millions of Jenkins advertising dollars. The room went silent. Victor's face reddened. Leland, this is inappropriate. We can discuss your confusion later. There's no confusion. You're presenting a deliberately flawed strategy that I created as bait, knowing you'd steal it without understanding the content. I nodded to Jake in the corner, who tapped his tablet. The screen behind Victor changed to show side-by-side documents. These are the original files of the Jenkins campaign, created by me, with timestamps and metadata intact. And these are the versions Victor modified, where he simply changed the authorship and dates. Sarah stood up. Victor did the same to me with the Pharma Plus campaign last year. I have the documentation to prove it. David joined her. And to me with the Suntech rebrand 2 years ago. Melissa looked at her husband, then at the room. It's true, she finally said. He's been doing this for years, taking credit for other people's work. Thompson slammed his hand on the table. Victor, you're fired. Security will escort you out. He turned to me. Leland, can you present the actual Jenkins strategy now? I stepped to the podium as Victor was led away, shouting threats. For the next 30 minutes, I walked the executives through my authentic campaign. Brilliant work, Thompson said when I finished. We have an executive position open as of today. I'd like you to consider it. 3 months later, I sat in what used to be Victor's office, now mine. Sarah had returned to Apex as my creative director, and Jake had been promoted to IT security manager. Rebecca stopped by my door. Thought you'd want to see this. She handed me her phone open to an industry news site. The headline read, Former Apex executive blacklisted after fraud allegations. Melissa left him too, Rebecca added. She's much happier now. I smiled, leaning back in my chair. Karma's a funny thing, isn't it? So is justice, Rebecca replied, especially when it's well planned. What would you have done if you discovered your boss was about to steal your career-defining work? Would you have confronted them directly, set up an elaborate trap like Leland did, or simply walked away and found another job? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'm curious how you'd handle a workplace betrayal. If you enjoyed this story of workplace justice, hit that like button and subscribe for more revenge tales that explore the complex dynamics of toxic relationships and how people overcome them. New stories every day.